Welcome into Double Fries No Slaw, the morning show presented by Halo. Give them some love in a little bit. Let some people get in here. Give Sleeper a little bit of love here in a little bit. Take you guys' calls. We'll take comments, take complaints, take questions. If you want to keep talking about the Virginia game, we can. If you've done the healthy thing and moved on to the Miami game, then we'll talk about that more. So I'll tell you this before we even really get started. Clay, who's been doing film review for us, man, he's got a long one. It's actually good. We actually had to split it up into two that I'll put out today. We'll have a couple of film review things, not to dwell on the UVA game, but I do think it's good to kind of see what went wrong, what Florida State did well, what they can hopefully improve on, what they can't likely improve on, like what may still kind of be a struggle for the Seminoles in games going forward, as they certainly have their toughest challenge coming up. So hopefully you guys like that film review. So, I mean, Florida State did some things. I'll say, like, I know that we're all frustrated with how that went on Friday night, but Florida State did do some things really, really well. And if they can clean up the things they did, right, like I'm not breaking any news there. If they can clean up the things they didn't do so well and continue to do other things really well, then they'll be in good shape. If they can't, it could be a long day on Saturday. At the end of the day, though, this is the best place to start. I've seen a lot of people say, and I would love to get you guys' takes on this. I've seen a lot of people say, and I think I agree with this, that Florida State is probably more dangerous from the Miami perspective today than they were a week ago. Like, that's not an outlandish take. I think it's a really easy take. I don't think that's real deep. Like, oh, wow, what a great take to say that. But I do think it's true that when a team kind of gets smacked in the face, especially a Mike Norvell team, I do think that they respond fairly well. The one thing I'll say is, like, you almost have to look at 2024 as a complete anomaly. And I don't know how much you can take away good, bad, or indifferent from last year. But for the most part, when Mike Norvell teams had faced adversity, I think they've done a pretty good job of bouncing back. I don't think that automatically means you win the Miami game. I don't think it automatically means you're going 9-3 or 10-2. Like, there's still a lot of challenges left to overcome. But you think about in 2021, when they started 0-4, I think they responded fairly well to that, winning 5 of their last 8, those 3 losses coming against teams that ultimately were just better than you, and you were an underdog in every game. But man, they played Clemson well that year. The NC State game, I mean, if you remember, Jordan was out and you had a bunch of guys that missed practice for the flu. And then the Florida game, you lose by 3. Honestly, if you don't fumble a punt in that game, I actually think you win it. So I thought they've responded well. 2022, they lost 3 games in a row, finished by winning 5 in a row down the stretch. 23, you lose your starter, and you respond well by winning 3 games without Jordan Travis. So I do think they respond fairly well. Now, again, last year's the anomaly where things snowball and certainly could go the other direction. But just the roster makeup, what that team looked like, I don't know how much I really read into what happened in 2024. So I do think that the team will respond. I think they'll play better. The problem is, or maybe my biggest concern, and we'll preview the game tomorrow night, so I don't want this to be a full preview. I'll read through some comments. You guys can call in. Harlan, if you could throw a call-in link in the chat. Anybody that'd like to call in is certainly welcome to. But my biggest concern is not even necessarily about how Florida State will play. I think they'll play better. I think they'll be coached better. I think I've talked about this. The defensive scheme wasn't necessarily my favorite. You had a quarterback who had a banged up hand and a team that was just running all over you. And for some reason, and Clay kind of goes into this more in the film review. So hopefully you guys go check that out. The defensive one will come out at least noon, probably by noon, maybe a little earlier. But I didn't understand the scheme. I don't want to just crap all over the coaches or anything like that. But just the way that they run fit and the way that they didn't really stack the box was weird to me. I think that'll be better this week. Now, the problem to me is that the team you're playing, in my opinion, is much better, right? Miami's offensive line, Miami's running game, way. I got to turn off this offstage feeds because I can't hear. Miami's team much so like Florida State could legitimately play much better in the trenches, stopping the run, tackling, but is the talent gap between where Virginia is and where Miami is that too much to overcome? I'll tell you this though. I don't think the talent gap between Miami and Alabama is that much. So you have shown this year that you can play up and that you can really be, above your heads. Like there's no doubt. Like I like Florida State more than Miami. There's no doubt. But Miami's got better personnel along the trenches than Florida State does. Nobody would argue that. You could find the most diehard FSU fan of all time, and Florida State will have to play up to win battles in the trenches. I don't know that Florida State can just line up and be better than Miami. I think that they're going to need to rely on, I was talking with somebody about this last night. I think they're going to need to rely on Gus being really good in this game. And then the players too. Like you got to go execute. Like Deuce has to get off again. And Chroma's got to have a nice day. And Sawchuck has to run hard. And Tommy has to make the right decisions, which, he was not perfect by any means on Friday night, but he made a lot of good decisions too. So I do think that you're relying on a lot, but they've certainly shown that they could do it before. Let's get, we'll see, we've got a caller. Harlan, if you'll throw him in, and we'll get somebody on here. Hey, can you turn if you have it on YouTube, B&K, if you could turn the YouTube off, just so that, because I hear myself in the background and I'm too ADD to not be distracted. But how's it going, bud?
What's up, TJ?
How you doing, man?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good.
So,
How you feeling?
I'm feeling better, thank you. Healing up pretty well. Hopefully, even better Saturday.
Are you
Um,
still depressed from Friday or not too bad?
yeah, I mean, I was, but I text you some stuff, and in listening, and it makes sense that you know, Virginia used tempo, and I think that kind of, and our players hadn't had a meaningful defensive rep in a month, and I think they got tired, and therefore those, was stopping them and then going forward, kind of what we did to Bama, was the physicality was kind of like, um, but Miami won't be using tempo, so I think that'll give us those extra seconds to kind of regroup. And but I was thinking, if I think that if we get up 14-0 on Miami, I don't think Miami's built to come back. I think we can use the tempo. If our offense can control the game, I really feel like we got a good shot to win. And what's your?
Yeah, I think my biggest worry is, well, here, this is a good point, and I think you're right about the tempo. That certainly, especially on that long drive where they just kept running it down our throats, and they only had the ball 3 times in the second half. Well, minus the last kind of 30-second drive where they were trying to make something happen and we picked the ball off. But they only had the ball 3 times. Like their drives were so long and time consuming, and then a lot of ours, were even a little bit time consuming too, minus that last one where we tied it up. And so neither team had a ton of possessions in the second half. I think that'll be different. I do think that you'll have more variance there. I don't think Miami's going to go on a 9-minute drive like Virginia did and like Alabama did to start the year. But I think the tempo is really important. What's interesting about this is Florida State has the number 1 offense in the country right now, both for yards per game and scoring offense. But I don't think they've seen a defense like Miami's yet, at least a defensive front. I'm not super confident in Miami's secondary. I think Florida State can win those matchups. But if you don't have time to throw because their defensive line and their front is really good, it doesn't really matter how much better your wide receivers are. You got to have time to throw. And Tommy is much better, obviously, when he sets his feet and can really plant and throw on balance. Conversely, I don't think Miami has seen an offense like this either, right? So they've got a really good defense. There's no doubt. I'm not going to take anything away from them. But Notre Dame's offense isn't as good. Obviously, Florida's offense is a complete joke. USF's offense, though I do like Byron Brown, Like they're not as talented. Like they don't have the horses that could keep up. And so that's really, really interesting to me is can Florida State's offense continue to be really good against the best defense it's seen? Can Miami's defense be really, really good against the best offense that they've seen so far? That's a big question mark. I think Florida State I think they have to get into the high 20s, low 30s to have a shot here, which I have confidence that they can do. But if you don't, if you're hovering around that 17, 18 mark, 17, 21, somewhere in there, that becomes concerning. I also think on the other side of the line, this is Florida State's got no pass rush at all.
Right.
Like their pass rush has been absolutely pathetic this year. And if you're not able to get Beck uncomfortable, it's going to be a long day. I think when you move his feet, you have a really good chance of forcing him into turnovers, which he's had some this year already. I think when you move the pocket a little bit, he's not as mobile as certainly Morris was last week, or even Ty Simpson was in week 1. I think you've got a really good chance to make him uncomfortable. The problem is I have zero confidence in Florida State's pass rush ability. I don't know if they've got to bring more pressure, bring blitzes at times, try and scheme that up on the defensive side. But to me, that's a huge key to the game is getting after him. Because if he just has time to sit back there and, remember how like Cam Ward would just sit in the pocket for like 15 seconds and just be like, somebody will eventually get open. That same thing will happen. And when Beck has a clean pocket and his feet are set, he will find guys. Like he's not a bad quarterback at all. When you can move him a little bit, when you can make him uncomfortable, like they did Ty Simpson, I think you can kind of have a little more success. If you're not able to do that, I think you're in a lot of trouble. So we'll see. I think the matchups up front are really interesting. Can Florida State kind of replicate what it did against Alabama up front? If so, they'll have a great chance in this. If not, I mean, they could lose by 2 touchdowns. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's why it's important that if we can, somehow early, the crowd, because I think their receivers are basically new, and this is their first road game. So if we can kind of affect that, maybe get them some offsides, get them behind the chains early, and like I said, let our offense, if we can get the lead like we did against Bama, and then tempo them, and I think if we can throw on them, then that'll open up the run, and even at first, maybe the 3-4 yard gains. I think Sawchuck, maybe Roydell early, but then if we get the lead and we can unleash Cromaha, and I think that's kind of been the plan. I think we could really, just like the Bama game, and then you can use the Lucases and those wheel routes and those things. And I think a lot of quarterback draws early to kind of get Bain and them. Don't if they come upfield, then we just go right by them. I think those kind of things kind of get in their head, so maybe they don't come as fast. I think we'll be ready. Gus will be ready and have some stuff. But an early turnover or something, man, would be if we could get that and get into Beck's head and get him off his spot just a little bit, then I think, we can get the lead and we can play with the lead and tempo them and control the game. Because I think if we get up, it's going to be harder for them to come back. I don't know that, I think Malachi Tony is going to be a great receiver, but first true road game, if they have to come back, I think that benefits us.
Yeah, for sure. We've talked about this a little bit, but in that Bama game, you were able to get the crowd so into it early, right? They had the long drive, but everything was hard for them. And then you came back and responded immediately. And then you took the lead and the crowd was in it the whole game. You can't go down. Yeah, I mean, you can't go down 14-0 like you did last week. Because the same way that you said, like, I don't know if they're built to come back. I don't want to be coming back against them with those edge rushers, just pinning their ears back and going. And so it's kind of the same idea. Like, you got to get out quick in this game, which Florida State's done a good job of. I mean, outside of Friday, they started kind of slow. But if they can get out to a lead, if they can get the crowd involved, if they can put more pressure on Beck, which he's been in pressure situations before. They were down by like 2 or 3 scores to Florida last year in Jacksonville. Like, I'm not saying that you put a little pressure on him, he'll just completely combust, but it'll let Gus. I think Gus is going to be crucial in this game. I mean, him scheming things up, because again, I don't think you can just line up and run at them. We're going to bully them. Their defense is too good. Their defensive front is too good. I like the way that our offensive line is played, but I don't think they're an elite group or anything like that. So you're going to need Gus to scheme some stuff up. He's done great jobs with motions. He's done a great job with just the fakes, right? You've got a guy coming around and you fake a reverse and then hand it off, or Tommy takes off or whatever. I think some of that eye candy will be really important. And so, yeah, I'm with you. Gus is super important. You off today? You off work today, B&K?
Oh yeah. So one more. Yeah, I think I was kind of frustrated because I love Lorraine McCoy is going to be a dog, and Squirrel, and I think if we can get that time, I really hate that. We didn't get a lot of those reps in the scrimmage games last couple of weeks because I feel like I don't think anybody, not even Miami, can match up with us receiver wise. You put Squirrel on some guy, and it's a mismatch. If we could, like I said, if we could throw and hit a couple of those throws, then that'll open up the run. And I think then we could be, we're about as dangerous as anybody. I know we got defensive deficiencies, but I think we just went on offense and just score as much as you can, and hope the defense can get some turnovers and stuff, and some key stops as the season goes along.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for taking my.
Appreciate you being K. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this too. The offense or Tommy in situations where he had to just drop back and pass last week was really good. And better than I expected. And so I don't know that you just want him dropping back and passing a million times, but he was better than I expected him to be in those situations. So hopefully that can keep up. B&K, I appreciate you, man. Have a good rest of the week. Thanks for calling in. B&K's been a massive supporter for quite a long time, so appreciate him. Is Matthew in here? Harlan, can we do Matthew? Let's see what's going on here. I had to flip off because I could hear B&K. B&K still had the YouTube on, and I could hear myself in the back. I mean, nuts. I don't know if Matthew's still in here or not. I will give Halo some love just really quickly. DrinkHalo.com. I think they'll be out there with us again on Saturday for the tailgate. Make sure you get your tailgate tickets if you haven't already. You can go to fsumiami.eventbrite.com. DrinkHalo.com, both a lemonade and a tea option for you. Low calorie, no hangover, discreet shipping because it does include a THC. It is a THC product, but if you're nervous on Saturday, probably a pretty good option for you to grab a couple of those and calm your nerves. So appreciate Drink Halo for their support, and the link for that will be in the description after the show. So make sure you go check them out and grab something. But again, if you're coming by the tailgate, or if you're just tailgating anywhere, come by, grab you some, try it, and then you'll end up ordering it afterwards once you try it. That was my I'm not going to say how many of those I had before the Alabama game, but just in case somebody's watching this that gets me in trouble, but the answer was a lot. The answer was quite a few. We will tailgate out for this game. I'm excited to get to Tallahassee for several reasons, but of course the game and the tailgate are part of that. So if you are around or in Tallahassee, come by and see us on Saturday. I don't even remember what time we're getting started. 2, 3, somewhere in there. Game at 7:30. We'll have a good time. We'll have we'll get to watch Texas beat the hell out of Florida, which is great. Kind of feels gross cheering for another team that wears orange because nothing good is orange, but at least it'll be Florida losing. Dude, I saw Matthew in here. I think Matthew's my buddy that is in school right now, so hopefully he comes back here in just a moment. But let me look through some comments. Where are you guys watching from today? I always enjoy seeing the different locations, so hit the comments and let me know, or the live chat. I guess it's not the comments yet, but I appreciate you guys always letting us know from where you're watching. Always got Wesley in here. Andre, got to stop the run. I don't think that's going to be easy. I think their rushing attack is really good. We'll preview this more in depth tomorrow night, but I don't think that's going to be easy. But it is a massive key to the game. You've got to be better than you were last week. What else we got? OC and DC seems like they were holding a lot back in the UVA game. DC, Aaron, I agree with that on the defensive side. Offensive, I mean, you had the jump pass, you had the Wildcat stuff with Pittman. I mean, I almost wonder if we put too much on tape last week against Virginia. Now, it's more that Miami has to scout against, but I wonder how much Gus truly has back for that. Wesley says it's FFM week. Always important to recognize that. It's a family show, so I won't say what that is, but you guys have Google, so you can just check it out there. Harlan, let's get Ethan in here real quick. Ethan, you in here? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me, man?
Yeah, what's up? Is this Ethan from the Discord?
I don't think no.
No,
It's
okay. All right.
not.
I was just checking. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm just chilling outside the union eating breakfast. But I just had one quick question. I know it's kind of stupid. It's kind of like a pointless question, but
There
when
are
do you
no
think the
no
last
pointless
like
questions here, man. You're all good.
when do you think the last time a game that's come to Tallahassee has like been this big?
Probably 2014 would be my like the off the top of my head guess. Like when you played Notre Dame and Clemson. I think it's been 10 years. So 2022, I guess the Clemson game was pretty big, but you had just lost to Wake Forest and NC State the week before that. So it lost some of its hype. Um, that was a big one. I guess the Duke game in 23 was kind of big. But everybody knew that Florida State was going to win that game. And I know it didn't start out super well, but you kind of won that game pretty comfortably. The Miami game in 20, I guess the Notre Dame game in 21 was kind of big, but Florida State wasn't good then. So, yeah, I mean, I'd say like 10 plus years, 2014, when we played Clemson and we played Notre Dame at home. Like that's the other ones I'm kind of just reaching for, I think. But all our big games have been on the road. You think about Clemson, you think about the LSU games being neutral, you think about different things we've played. I truly think it's been 10 plus years since a game was this big.
Yeah, I know. And I'm so upset that we didn't get game day. Gosh. I hope we get it soon because I really think this team is it, but I don't know what other opportunities we'd really have this year.
Yeah, I don't know if there's
But
another game on the schedule that would really warrant it, unfortunately, which sucks. Like this was the opportunity if you were going to try and get that national spotlight big game. How about this? I'll ask you. I'll turn it back around on you. With how frustrated you probably were, or I'm assuming you were, on Friday night and then this weekend after the loss, how much of that would be undone if we won this game?
you know, ah, it's hard because I don't know. I kind of feel like I talked with my friends about this. I think if we were gonna lose a game, I actually don't think that was a terrible, terrible spot to lose a game. So I was frustrated at Georgia watching the Alabama game. But I think it'll probably, like Tommy said, it'll humble the team, which I think could do us like really well. Probably lock them in a little bit, and hopefully they come with some new energy.
Yeah,
But
I
it
go
yeah,
ahead. Sorry.
sorry. It would be I'd say beating Miami was always like the main goal. Like it would undo a lot of the pain from losing to Virginia.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you what else it'll do is it'll jump you ahead of them in the standings because you'll have the tiebreaker, which is super helpful, right? Now, obviously,
Yeah.
can't undo what happened at Charlottesville, but I do think that if you were able to, if you were able to beat Miami, you would jump ahead of them in the conference standings, and you'd still have to be. Just fell off my desk. You'd still have to be perfect the rest of the way because if you lose another one, then they jump back ahead of you. But I do think that it doesn't undo everything, but it certainly, I mean, you forget about it pretty quick. The same way that the Bama game kind of undid 2
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
10,
definitely. Yeah.
it would help a lot. And I think you're
Yeah.
spot on. I think that they will play more focused and I think they'll play better. The worry that I have is that Miami's a lot better than Virginia. So even if you play better, is that enough? I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll find out at 7:30 on Saturday night. But I do agree with you. I think they'll play better. I think they'll play more focused. You just have to kind of wonder, is that enough? And I think that people are not, yeah, I mean, yeah, this is Miami's first time away from being at home, and it is a rivalry game. And this game is typically really close. Even last year, going to the fourth quarter, like this was a close game with our worst team of all time. So I don't know. I'm a little bit, I'm trying to hype myself up for this thing.
Yeah, yeah, me as well. I'm really, you know, the thing I think that pissed me off the most about losing to Virginia is that I felt like if we had won, we would have undoubtedly had game day.
Yeah.
It sounds stupid, but man, I'm a student here. I'd love to go to game day. I was gonna just quit work that day if they scheduled me, so I was just gonna not go in. But oh, I got to go in. So if you're in town, you want to hit the bookstore at the Union, I'll check you out. I'm a cashier.
um, are you off on Saturday?
Nope, I work Friday and Saturday.
Oh, brutal. What time you get off?
3, but I will hit the tailgate when I get off.
Come on by, man. I appreciate you, buddy.
Of course. Have a good one, man.
You too, bud. I will quickly. I'll go through some comments here in just a second, and then I'll eventually get off here, and we'll let you guys go watch Clay's film reviews once I can get them up. But I appreciate Sleeper for their support. Make sure you are checking them out using our code DFNS for 100% match up to $100, whether it's survivor pools, whether it's pick'ems, whether it's everything else that you could have ever imagined from a sports perspective, or the more or less game that we play on Wednesday nights. You can win up to 1,000 times your money using our code DFNS. Make sure you check their terms and conditions because terms of use do apply. Appreciate Sleeper, as always, for their support. Let's look at some of these things. Miami is, top 3 offensive line and running game. Yep, I 100% agree. They have not seen an offense like this. They haven't seen a rushing attack like this. Big concern by Brett is, do we have the athletic ability on defense to run the 3-3-5? Yes, but now after the UVA game, that is a concern. Man, I thought the linebacker play was so disappointing. That has to be better this weekend. And I don't know why Omar Graham only had like 8 or 9 snaps. You would hope that is different this week. You would hope that he's able to play a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, you guys are all kind of hitting it here. The run game by Miami is my biggest concern going into this thing. If they can stop that or limit that, I mean, this is still the same team that held Bama to like 80 something yards. If you can hold Miami under 120, then I think you win the game. If you don't, it's going to be really freaking tough to do that. So RS with a good comment. It's big for recruiting. Yeah. I mean, as always, I still don't have a ton of confidence in this recruiting staff, but yeah, losing this would just put you even further behind. Alabama's first drive took 8:30, mostly running. Miami secondary look up. Xavier Lucas. Yeah, I think their secondary is much improved. I just still like Florida State's matchups from a skill position standpoint. I don't think any of that matters, though, if you can't block. Let's keep looking here. Contemplating coming to the tailgate. Don't have tickets. So you can come by, man. You can get tickets in person. You can cash at me or whatever. We've got at the tailgate. It doesn't matter. Come on by if you're hanging out. Who commented that? Tyler did. Generate a pass rush. Yeah. Juan Manuel. The pass rush has been very disappointing. Not that I thought that they would be elite by any means, but they've certainly been worse than I expected. Listen, I know he's getting railed on, so I'm not trying to pile on at this point, but James Williams has been disappointing. The Desir twins are about all you have there. I have not been disappointed with Darrell Jackson. I know there's been a little bit of hate there, but I do think that he's been getting double and triple teamed all year, and he is eating up blocks. So listen, I don't expect him to just beat double teams every single time. But he's been the focus of the other team's offensive line, and I would imagine he will be this weekend as well. So, but on a pass rush, if you don't find a way to get some kind of a pass rush on Carson Beck, I don't see how you win this game. Like, that's just, if their rushing attack can continue to be really good and you don't pressure Beck to force them into a couple of mistakes, I don't see how you beat them. Just hoping you outscore them, I guess, right? 45-41 or something ridiculous. I don't know that you put 45 points up on this team who does have a pretty good defense, a much improved defense from last year. So yeah, I think the pass rush is really important. Look at this. Seoul, Korea. This is incredible. This is a great comment. Listen, I like to shout out the people that are watching from different places. A lot of the listeners in Florida. This is great. Are you does that say Sun Current? Are you on vacation? Are you in the military? Like, what's going on in South Korea? And shout out the people. Dude, what time is it right? What time is it in South Korea? Dude, it's 10:31 at night, and my man is in Korea watching the show. Shout out to Suncrest, man. I wish I knew how to send something to South Korea, because I send you some koozies or a t-shirt or something. I gave somebody else a t-shirt not too long ago. Hopefully they're wearing it often, but I do. if you can email me, I'll find a way to send you something to South Korea. I don't even know how to do that or how expensive that is, but whatever, we'll figure it out. TJ at doublefriesnoslaw.com, Sun Current. I'll get you something out there so you can rep. That's incredible. West from the Villages, a little bit closer than South Korea. Unfortunately, I can't send you anything, but I do appreciate you always commenting. Find somebody who can bring pressure. Okay, so here's a good one. Juan Manuel, do you guys really want to see Kirk Herbstreit in game day in Tallahassee? I would have liked to have seen the response. I'd have liked to have seen the booing and the vulgarity that the students and the kids would have had. So other than that, I wasn't planning on going to game day. I might start my day around noon. I plan on sleeping in on Saturday since it's a night game. So I wasn't going to go to game day. I understand the students and stuff enjoy that. So I get why. They were never coming. That's why they chose the. You know what's funny is that they are calling the game though. Like they're doing game day in Tuscaloosa, and then they're having to come here and call the game, which is hilarious. Haven't had game day since 2014 or so. So let's get Brock in here real quick, Harlan. Then we'll read a few more comments and get out of here. Brock, how's it going, bud?
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Just driving into work today and watching the show, so had to give you guys a quick call.
No, I appreciate it. Where you calling from?
I'm actually from Tallahassee, but I live in Destin, Florida. Work on the beach over here.
Nice. Do you like surf lessons, or what are you doing out there on the beach?
So
nobody's surfing in Destin.
It's awesome. We set up all the beach chairs every day and rent them out, do kayaks, paddle boards, jet skis, all that kind of stuff.
That's dope. That's dope. How you feeling about this game this weekend?
Oh man, I'm nervous. I was very confident, but after watching our defense this past weekend, I'm really nervous. And I was really annoyed, with the offense. They kept putting Sawchuk in, which I like him a lot, but he wasn't really doing anything. And then every time Chromo got in and got the ball, he did, he was doing some work. And as soon as he got in a rhythm, they kept pulling him out, which was really annoying to me. I'd say if he's on a roll, let him go, and they kept pulling him out. So that was really frustrating.
Yeah, you know who else? Keziah Holmes has a really good jump. Clay talked about this too. And again, I would encourage everybody to watch these film reviews because Clay does put a lot of time and effort into them. But the problem is not a problem, but like it does feel like they have so many weapons that they don't stay with anybody consistently. Like they'll go with one guy for a drive, then another guy for a drive, and then they just never go back to him for the rest of the game, which is, I get it. They're trying to get different guys involved. They're trying to give the defense different looks. I understand that idea, but man, when somebody's hot, and Cromot has been so good, like every time he gets the ball, I'm like, oh, that boy could take off right now. Just end up in the end zone, man. But I kind of agree with that. I'm not trying to question too much about the offense. At the end of the day, they have the most yards per game and the most points in the country. So yes, I get it. Like the offense has been good and probably not where my biggest complaint should be, but I do kind of agree on guys staying in a rhythm. That said, they've run the ball much better than I thought they would this year. So I don't want to critique so hard on that.
Yeah. And I mean, even with the mistakes, our offense was moving the ball and they didn't really freak me out as much. I mean, our defense was getting lit up. So that was just insane to see. I'm like, how do we bully Alabama the whole game and then come out and let Virginia push us around? It was just crazy.
Yeah, if I had told you that you were going to hold Alabama to like 80 yards rushing, but then give up like 220 to Virginia, you'd have probably said I was crazy, right? Like, I do think a lot of that's on coaching. Like, I hate to give like Knighton or Tony White a hard time with this, but I mean, I just didn't think we played that super well. I thought that, I think we need to get a little bit more in the box this week and try and run fit a little bit better than we did. That was just kind of a strange. I haven't watched the full defensive film review that Clay has done. I'll watch it today when you guys do, but I don't know so I'm assuming it's on coaching. Hopefully I'm right on that because then it's correctable. But I thought that the way that we game planned that was pretty bad or didn't adjust to it. It's fine if you game planned it wrong and then you adjust, but I don't think we adjusted super well to that. So hopefully
Yeah.
it's not good to lose, but it's good it's on tape now so that you can kind of adjust and hopefully fix it for a better rushing attack.
Yeah. I think the only thing that makes me feel better is we're playing them at home, and I know Doak's going to be lit, so that'll help a lot. But man, we really need to step up this week, and I think if we do beat them, we'll, it'll kind of. I'm still upset of how we lost that game, but I think it'll make me feel better beating Miami for sure. So
yeah, you beat them, and a lot of frustration from last week is still there, but a lot of it disappears because they need to show the ability to bounce back. And there's a lot to having to go on the road and play in a hostile environment for the first time, as opposed to playing, in front of their almost sold out crowd every week. So hopefully the crowd can make an impact. You going to the game?
I'm not actually. My wife is pregnant, and we're having identical twin girls, and they're due next Tuesday night. So
Shoo.
I'm hoping she doesn't give birth during the game, because that would be a huge problem. But
don't let her watch. The stress might send her into labor.
Yeah.
Are those is that your first kids?
No, we actually have a 2-year-old boy. I just dropped him off at daycare, but yeah, that's gonna be the hardest part, is having a toddler and then having twin girls on top of it. So we'll have 3 under 3.
Dude, good luck. No, but shout out to you, man. Congratulations. Shout out to the twins crowd. People
it's the year of the twins.
Yeah, like that is wild. Anybody that has twins, man, hats off to you. So yeah, man, I can't even imagine. So we had 3, I guess we had 3 under 4. Well, I guess my daughter was like almost 4 when my youngest was born. So I guess for a little bit we had 3 that were 3 and under, but she was almost 4 and there weren't twins and stuff. But my little guy's crazy enough to be, he gives us enough trouble for 2, I guess. But shout out to y'all, man, and prayers up. If the season goes the wrong way, though, you can just focus on them. It'll be great.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, it's nice that we're good again, because I've been able to watch them, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have all this time off, and on Saturdays I'll be able to watch them. And now I'm like, hopefully they respond. And I will say, though, the way that they responded in that game, when they were down, and the way they came back and responded, I loved watching that. Tommy throwing that touchdown on the 4th down to get us to overtime, that was insane. Last year that would have not happened. So it's good to see that, at least.
Yeah, I thought they fought back pretty well, even down 14-0 when they went and took the lead. I mean, every single time that they scored, minus at 14-14, every single time that they scored, they were trailing. And the way they fought back was really impressive. I don't want to have to do that again this week. But yeah. I do think the fight in the team was really good. And even as much as we crap on the defense, they stepped up with 2.5 minutes to go and got that stop to give the offense one more chance. And so I do like the way the team fought. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. But, yeah, I mean, I do think that was a positive that you can take away. And their effort is there. Last year that team would have hung their heads down 14-0 and we'd have lost by 30. It's a different mindset this year. And so I don't think you want to go down 14-0 against this team, but I do like that it doesn't really matter what happens. They will fight back, which is impressive to see for sure.
Definitely.
All right, buddy. Well, I appreciate you calling in. Again, good luck to your wife and good luck to you, man, with the babies.
Appreciate it. Go Noles.
Take care, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right. That might wrap us up today. Got some stuff to do. Again, I'll put Clay's film reviews out here in the next couple of hours, so make sure you're subscribed and you don't miss that. Hey, we are inching closer to 20,000, so grab your significant other's phone, grab your husband's phone, your wife's phone, whatever, and subscribe from that one too, and help us get up to that 20K mark, because we were doing really well. And then last week, everybody was sad and nobody subscribed. So, from this weekend. So help us out and hit that button. Appreciate, again, drinkhalo.com. Appreciate Sleeper for their support. We will be back with some videos through the week, and then we'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. to preview the Miami game. Appreciate you guys, as always, for hanging out. We'll talk to you soon. Go Noles.